Okay, so welcome to the how-to on the Palladium Rifts by Grinning Gecko character sheet on Roll20. I am Grinning Gecko, and this is my first video, so here we go. So Roll20, first thing you want to do is add a character, whatever name doesn't matter, and this is the sheet. So first thing I'm going to say is under options, there is an instructions button here. If you click instructions, then instructions expands and you get some very, very detailed instructions on the sheet. So please refer to that in the future. I'm not going to go through this exactly, but I'm just going to go through it tab by tab. So people say this sheet is complicated. It is complicated. Rift is a complicated game, but once you have it set up correctly, using it, I mean, it streamlines everything within a gaming session. So, basic character background information, name, whatever, red, savage, race, grackle, two. Actually, I'm gonna make this a human for now, just to keep things simple. And I'm going to make a mystic because mystics kind of touch on everything. They touch on special abilities, magic, psionics, etc. So you have basic background information, blah, 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 attributes. I mean, I can roll them. It doesn't really matter. Sure, why don't we just roll them for the sake of this? And just roll them all once. B, 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 speed. All right, so 10, 15, 9, 13, 10, 12, 10, and 9. This is a very average mystic. So just leave it at that for now. When you go to skills, you can add skills. So mystic skills, I mean, pretty straightforward. So language, tongue, let's just say American. It's at 97%. So we get, let's say, language. So language, other, 3 of choice. Demon Gogian. Now this is at base of 15, so look up the base later. Per level, bonus is 15. Language, whatever, Spanish. And okay, so we put in some KISS skills. They get dance. Horsemanship, general. Anyway, you get the picture. Horsemanship is actually kind of a unique one because it has it's got like 2 sections. So I can't remember exactly what they are, but I'm going to say like first percentile. And then you can actually expand this. Anytime you see this little icon, you can expand it. And there's put more data. So here you could actually put the description of what this is, which I can look up later. And then horsemanship, general, second percentile. And those have a plus 10%. So those are OCC skills. There's a bunch more, but I'll just give you an example of something else. So let's say you wanted to take brewing. Sure, so brewing as an OCC related skill. So brewing, that has a plus 10%, and we'll put that as OCC related just so we can kind of track what we've selected from where. And then And then I guess we'll also, let's take a hand-to-hand. Let's take hand-to-hand. Basic counts as 1, expert is 2. Um, oh, let's just go with, I don't know, we'll go with assassin. Sure, it's an anarchist mystic, and it's going to use 4 skills on hand-to-hand assassin. So we can go back here and change the one to anarchist. And then, so we do that. We select other OCC related, and then secondary, OCC related. Then we can say like 4x or something, just so we know that it costs 4 skills. And then we get 5 secondary skills. So athletics is always a good one. It gives a +1 to parry dodge. So let's put secondary as athletics in there. Cool. So that's kind of an example of just putting in the basic skills. The equipment tab, if you click on these, if you click on some of these, oh, the alignment's off on them actually right now, right? You can see a little bit more information about it. So what universal credits are, whatever marked versus bearer, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, different little blurbs about them. You can also click this link to get a link to the Palladium site for the trouble with credits from the cutting room floor. And then this is just freeform equipment. You can put like whatever in here, rope, 12 stakes plus mallets, whatever your character starts with. And in combat skills, oh, actually, so let's go back to skills. Let's say we also took weapon proficiency, energy, rifle, and the secondary, and whip. Sure, this is gonna be Indiana Jones, assassin, mystic. Anyway, whip. So we go back to combat skills, and we can enter those here. So we can select from this list hand-to-hand assassin. And here under ancient, we can select weapon proficiency whip. And here under modern, we can select weapon proficiency energy rifle. And these, you set the level that you acquired them at. So in this case, level 1. And then as your character level increases, the skill levels will increase and the bonuses associated will also increase. So this is kind of, we're starting to get to a point now. If we go just to jump over the profiles tab, you can see now that we have some things here in this modifier picker. We'll get to that in a minute, but basically that is how we build different profiles. In fact, maybe I'll just jump into, no, I'll jump back to that. So combat skills, basic, some basic things there. So let's go to abilities. So let's see, what does Mystic have for abilities? They have Sense Supernatural Evil. Supernatural Evil. And this has a 300-foot radius plus 20 feet per level of experience. So we can go in here, again, you click this little eye and it expands. Range is 300 feet plus 20 per level of experience, and the unit is feet. If you actually just click in here, it's got a bunch of drop downs for units. Duration is always on, and the base ability is 50 plus 5 per level. So now this is it's an ability. It doesn't have any mechanical, it doesn't add any bonuses. So we don't need to add it to the profile. So this checkbox here, this is for if something has like mechanical bonuses, combat bonuses, saving throw bonuses, modifies your attributes, things like that. Then we would add it here, but in this case, it's just kind of a sensing ability, so we don't need to worry about that. I don't know if the Mystic has any abilities like that. Yeah, so actually, so they have OCC magic related bonuses. So we'll just kind of add that one here. So we'll say OCC magic bonuses. So in here, so they get plus, we can expand this again. And these bonuses give them, so +4 to horror factor. We just scroll down. So I did that kind of quickly. Let me just kind of go through some of these things, but these are all just various, they operate the same way as this range did. If you put in a duration, add a duration per level and a unit, then it will apply it and calculate it throughout the levels. Duration applies to things like, I don't know, Circle of Flame or whatever, which is also covered under magic. Suffice to say, this section here is very similar between abilities, magic, psionics. They all have sort of a variation of this theme, range, duration, frequency, damage, whatever. Anyway, we'll get to that when we get to magic. So magic bonuses from the Mystic. We can scroll down here and they get +4 versus horror factor, +2 versus possession, +1 versus magic, levels 1, 3, 6, 9, 12. So +1 versus magic. I would probably even put that as a description in the description field so that I remember. I don't have to look it up every level. Just pop that in there. And then +1 to spell strength, levels 2, 4, 8, 12. Spell strength we're actually tracking on the magic tab here. We can set the spell strength, so their starting spell strength is 12. And then they also get +1 on perception at levels 1, blah, 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 blah. So perception. And again, I will put that in here as well. They also get double that perception bonus when on a ley line, but that's just something you're going to have to remember and then add in manually because multipliers are not really built into this. Yeah, so that's your basic magic bonuses that you get. So this one we will add to profiles. So we check that box, and then we go over to profiles tab and we see OCC magic bonuses here. So we'll do that. And now, basically now we can build a profile. We have a hand-to-hand, which is always on, and we have OCC bonuses, which are always on. So we can say default. I always like to create just a default profile, which is like this character standing around naked, like no weapons, no armor, just this is their bare bones, everything profile. Oh, actually, one thing I forgot. We did take athletics. So I'm going to create a modifier. A modifier is the same as the abilities that you just saw. It just doesn't have some of the extra options. So, anything that modifies your attributes, this is kind of a continuation of attributes, these items, combat skills, saving throws, anything that modifies any of those is under modifiers. But this entire section is duplicated within abilities, magic, and psionics as well. It's kind of arbitrary which one you use for what, but however you want to organize it. So in here, we're going to say athletics because we took athletics, and that adds +1 to strength, +1 to parry and dodge. I believe +1 to roll. I'm going to just say it does. And then I think D8 SDC, so I'm just going to go with 5. And so that's basically, again, like an always on sort of thing. So we're going to go back to our profile, and we're also going to add physical skills to this. So this is our character standing around naked at level 1. They get 3 attacks per melee from hand-to-hand assassin. They get +2 to strike from hand-to-hand assassin. Everybody gets +2 on an aimed single and +1 on an impulse, so they get that automatically. And they have +1 to parry dodge from athletics, +1 to roll from athletics, and then the various bonuses from their magic OCC bonuses. Here, if they had any attribute bonuses, it would display those. Here we have 5 SDC from athletics. We should actually go back in, and I think they get like 12 + 2d6 to start, so regular human. So let's just roll that. 17 SDC, so we'll say they have 17 SDC here, and their hit points are endurance +d6, so 2, so they have 14 hit points. So we can then go back into profiles. Oh, actually, then they get PPE too, right? So d6 times 10 plus 20 plus PE. So d6 times 10 plus 20 plus PE, which is 12. So 92. Nice roll. 92 PPE. And they also get ISP. So let's put their ISP in. D4 times 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus ME, which is 15. 65. Good roll again. All right. So they have 92 PP, 65 ISP, 17 STC, and 14 hit points. If we go back to profiles, we'll see that nothing has changed, nothing has updated. They still have what they had before. So we have to hit this refresh button. And the refresh button just basically checks all of their core attributes as well as any of the modifiers that have been added here and recalculates. And now we can see here that they have 14 hit points, 22 SDC because it's 17 plus 5, 92, 65, etc. We can then, with the PPE and the ISP, we can go to the Magic tab and say Reset PPE from Active Profile, and that pulls in the PPE. This is used for when we add spells, there's an option to cast the spell, and that will automatically deduct the PPE from here, so you can kind of keep your magic all in one place. Same thing with psionics. We reset ISP from Active Profile, and then we can, cast psionics, as it were. So that's basically how a profile works. And then what the intent is that you're not meant to roll, you're not meant to go to the abilities tab in your magic bonuses and roll against an ability in here. All these are meant to do is aggregate into the profile that represents your character at that point in time. So, right now we've created a basic, naked profile. But we can, let's say we had a Wilkes 457 because that's my go-to rifle. So let's say we have a Wilkes 457 and we are, it's the Wilkes 457. It does, I believe, so on a single, put in the damage is 3d6 plus 2, and then pulse is 26 times 10. I believe it gives a plus 1 or 2 on an aimed, so I'll just put that in there. And that's basically our rifle. We can say in here, long E-clip equals 30 rounds, range equals, I don't know, what's 2,000 feet. You can put just arbitrary things about it in here. 4 E-clips remaining. Kind of just track what you're using. The level here it's not used in any calculation. It's just if the modifier has a level associated with it and you want to put it in so that to differentiate it from a similar modifier that is a different level. I don't know. It's kind of just arbitrary, at least on modifiers. On magic, no, actually it doesn't. Yeah, it never plays in. On combat skills, it does. So the level of the combat skill factors in because bonuses change per level. And under things like abilities, you would have, they're always at your level. So, it's not like you have fire laser beams from your eyes that are operating at a higher level than you are. So that just always uses the character level. Anyway, so we have the default profile where you are standing around naked, and then we're going to create a profile for your rifle. So where you're actually using your rifle. Wilkes rifle. And in here we're going to, so we want the same items that we picked in default because those are always on basically. So let's say I had deselected them and I was just coming back to it like this. If I wanted to quickly select them, I can just expand the default profile and I can say replace picked modifiers using this profile, and that will take these 3 items and check them off over here. And then I can go to the new profile. I can say apply picked modifiers. Well, before I do that, actually, I'm going to select energy rifle and Wilkes 457. And then I can say apply picked modifiers. And then it applies them all. And you can see here that the aimed single is now +3 instead of +1. That the damages are put in here. Often, especially on a sheet with a lot of modifiers, you'll have to kind of do that, wait a few seconds, maybe a minute, and then hit refresh. There's a lot happening behind the scenes here, and the more modifiers you have, the more it has to go through, and the longer it takes. So just keep that in mind. If you see stuff that's not refreshing properly or something, just try, it's not updating properly, just try hitting refresh, and then waiting a minute or so. So this now gives you two profiles. So I have default profile, which is standard, which is default. Every profile is going to contain these items, and then my rifle profile. So now let's say that I am getting ready for a fight, so I need some armor too. So I'm going to have Plastic Man because I'm a mage. And I think that has, I don't know what the movement modifier is, maybe -5. And base MDC, I think, is like 35. I don't know, I might be wrong, but we'll just say that for now. So I put this armor entry in, I can hit reset MDC, and that changed the current MDC to 35. And then I have this active section up here, and I have these active tab, like active column here. So active is your active profile and your active armor. So if I expand this, it defaults to the default that I created, and then Plastic Man because it's the only one I have in there. So if I close this, if I have more than one armor, I can check them off, and then I can toggle which one is active. It also does kind of a ring down where, if you have a force field ahead of this, then it will take damage from the force field first and then drop down to the armor, et cetera, based on the order that they're listed here. And for the profile here, I want to select the Wilkes rifle. So I select that, close that, and then I go to active, and I have my Wilkes rifle here. The reason to use this active section instead of just selecting the profiles separately is primarily, it's for two things really. One is for macros. If you wanted to write macros, these are all in repeating sections, and they're more complicated to write macros for, frankly. And they could change, and if you'd have to write a macro for melee strike for this profile and then melee strike for this profile. Whereas if you wanted to write a macro for your active profile melee strike, then it would just always be referencing this value, this field, based on whichever profile you selected as active. So simplify it a bit. And the other reason is for this TT button, which is turn tracker, which is used for managing Palladium turn order in the turn tracker, which requires API access because that's what Roll20 does. It's the only way you can interface with this really. So you have to have a paid account for that, but if you do, it makes it well worth the while. I'll get into that probably in another session, but yeah, managing turn order through turn tracking Palladium style through the turn tracker it's amazing. It saves so much headache. So yeah, that is, I'm going to call that chapter 1, I guess. I'll expand on this later, another time, and get to magic and psionics. But hopefully that gives you an idea of at least how profiles work, and how all of your modifiers aggregate into your individual profiles. That's all. Thanks.